I really appreciate everybody for joining yesterday at our innovation forum, CIO Innovation Forum. And all of you, it was a really completely robust conversation. Chris, see the hat? I got the hat all for you today. And so the topic we covered was ideas for building enterprise value and how do you prioritize your cybersecurity program based on risk. So those were our two topics. We actually never got to the second topic. That's how big the first one was. And I had a sneaky suspicion that it was going to be very good conversation, but I didn't realize how good it was. So here are my takeaways from this. And I wanted to put this here for you to see. First, frictionless customer experience. We talked about this. Are you easy to do business with? And do you create, friction and latency in the communication process or not? And what I mean by that is we talked about the CIO is the enabler of this frictionless experience. And because you have the access to all the digital capabilities and digital tools, not the only thing in the equation, but certainly we talked about it being one of the major ones. And are you creating this easy to do business with experience for your customers? So that was one of the themes. Another one, I thought this was interesting and fun. The goal, for years, the goal has been, to create a seat at the table. I want to have a seat at the table, but I like that a couple of you thought that, I don't want a seat at the table. I want to invent the table. I want to create the table. And that's the right thinking and the mindset that I think puts it's a completely the mindset that we need to be shooting for. And the speed. This was interesting, and feel free to come in, Patrick. This is very, very interesting. The speed theme, doing projects quickly. Strategy is now, not in the future 36 months. And can you get projects done quick? And I think this is a common theme across all businesses, but certainly came up is like what's possible. I think that's one of the things that's come out of the plague here is it's really a question, what is possible? What can we test? How quickly can we test? And can we shrink timeframes of delivery and expectations for the business? And so that was a really powerful concept. The other is big breakthrough concept I thought was the reemergence of the emergence or reemergence. I think training is not just a tactical. I put a tactical pain in the tuchus because it's always, if it wasn't, the old joke, if it wasn't for end users, the job would be easy. However, one of you brought up the point, which I thought spurred a really powerful conversation points, was the strategic imperative of training. And with the hundreds, some of you have hundreds of applications, but really doing a SWOT or an 80-20 or taking a Pareto principle inventory of these apps. What are the 20% of those apps that are actually producing the revenue, producing the value to the business right now, just even from a core capability? Forget the innovation at the edge and innovation of new capability, just with the core. And where are the training gaps on those? We barely use Microsoft Word. I think it'd be worth Googling the statistics of how much people actually use of Microsoft Word. I've heard something around 10%, but maybe it's higher, maybe it's lower, but that's a stunningly low amount for a very commonly used app. So what about the other apps that are in your environment? So, and then we talked about, was interesting, strategic frameworks and the imperative for a business IT leader to lead the charge of innovation and lead the charge of strategy. And I've changed the moniker. No, I haven't changed it, but I've often thought recently the CIO is not necessarily the CEO of the future, but they're definitely the chief strategy officer of the future. And this is we didn't talk about the academics around success frameworks. We talked about success. Like there was several of you in the group that had one with design thinking, lean, agile, and also the Hoshin Conry X matrix, which some of you hadn't heard of, but we had some great success there that's been in the group. So I think there was some really, I love when the group gets together and that's what I try to design it for, is for you're talking to other folks that have been successful versus just the academics around it. And then, not finally, but one of the items being alignment with the CHRO and the CFO for big culture change. Not everyone's going to make these make the cut, make the changes necessary. So you might have to carry extra burden for a while financially to get kind of the right team and the right capabilities in place. And having that strong partnership with HR is super, super important, and the CFO, super important. And finally, some of you like this picture that I came up to called the ceiling of complexity. And I didn't invent it. It came from my coaching program, Dan Sullivan with Strategic Coach. But as one way to look at this curve here is to look at where your complexities are within your business, and really spending some time understanding, if I can understand where the complexities are, these ceilings of complexity, then you can navigate process, the tech, the collaboration with other people, the culture, to really get through, instead of going into crisis here, then create new capabilities, new partnerships, either internally or externally, to bring new capabilities, new teamwork, to break through these ceilings of complexity. So that was a concept we discussed as well. There's another picture that I use as well. I'm just remembering as I do this, but I think this is a good stopping point. I just wanted to give a good summary here for what we talked about from the meeting. So with that, if any of you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd be happy to answer and address them. I look forward to seeing you all for the next one coming up here very shortly. Thanks. Bye.